Hey, what is going on, people? This is Slow Hit, and in this video I'm going to be chopping a super dope soul sample from the 70s, kindly provided by Tracklib for their competition together with Just Blaze. But even if you're watching the video after the competition has ended, it could be super useful to see my approach when chopping such a sample on the machine. So in the first 2 minutes I explain how I truncate, time stretch and chop the sample. But if you want, you can skip to the actual making of the beat. Oh, and by the way, if you like the vibes that you're hearing on the channel, if you're into the Machine, the Ableton Push 2, the MPC, plugins, tutorials, beat making videos and all that kind of stuff, make sure you're subscribed with notifications. And without further ado, let's see how I chopped this sample. So first thing I did, I went to the user folders in my Machine library where I had downloaded the song that I'm chopping, and I loaded into pad 1 the whole track. Then I reduced the polyphony of my sampler so that when I retrigger the sample, it doesn't overlap. And then I play with the start and end knobs to figure out which part I'm gonna be using. So now that I set the end of the sample, I truncated it to remove the parts that I'm not gonna be using. Then I went to the stretch option, went to settings, turned off the auto detect and set the source BPM to 78, as that was the BPM that was provided by Tracklib as BPM of this track. So I set the source BPM to 78. And I wanted to stretch it to 86, as that's the tempo I'm gonna be working at. And I turned on the formant correct, so I don't change the timbre of the sample too much. Then I went to slice and did some manual chopping on the pads. Pressed apply and then OK to have the sample chopped on pad 1. And again, I reduced my polyphony to 1 so that the slices don't overlap with each other. Next thing I did was I added the high pass filter as an effect after the sampler to remove the low end muddiness from the sample and make space for my bass line. So once I had the sample ready, I first recorded the drums. Then I recorded my sample chops and automated the low pass filter on the sampler to create some movement. Added some more percussion on group B. And the next step was to add a bass line. I had figured the key of the track. It was in D minor or F major, not sure. So then I decided to record the bass line with a square wave sounding bass, which makes it a little more edgy. So that gave the beat a certain flavor that I liked. I added a little bit of chorus to the sample to add some stereo width. And then I recorded this simple Rhodes piano line on top of the beat and a synth lead which gave the track its main melody and make it sound more like a West Coast beat. So here's me testing out the arrangement of the beat by muting and unmuting the separate elements. And at some point I decided to add some brass section, and that was pretty much it.